Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope everyone is well. All right. Happy Tuesday. All right. All right. Hey, got a few more trickling in. Well, good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to GT Tuesday. Welcome to finally feeling like it is fall weather out there instead of it's like mini summer. So but we got an eventful day today, and so yeah, we are uh going to get started and get rolling here. So here's our short but brief agenda. Our friends Kristen Graham is here for T Tag It. And then we have Spring Branch, Tracy Soltz will talk to us today. And then I got a couple other announcements and then a few Q&As. If you got, I'd always open for questions. So, how's that GT state of mind? How y'all doing out there? Everybody good? Everybody well? Everybody's, yeah, enjoying the fall weather, football seasons, homecomings, all of that is happening this month. Y'all ready for those trick-or-treaters next week? Or the office party? Because we're all good for office party. So so good to go. Good to go. All right. All right, I always like to reshare and, rethink and focus us on our state definition for our GT students. And we are looking at those students who performs at or shows the potential for performing at a remarkably high level of accomplishment when compared to others of the same age, experience, or environment, and who exhibits high performance capability in the intellectual, creative, or artistic area and then possesses an unusual capacity for leadership, but then also excels in the specific academic fields. So those are the students we are looking for and are serving. And as we serve them, we're expecting them to, in those programs, demonstrate skills of self-directed learning, thinking, research, and communication, as evidenced by the development of innovative products and or performances that reflect their own individuality and creativity and are advanced in relation to students of similar age, experience, or environment. So really thinking about as we graduate our students as they move forward, they have at some point through your programs of service have produced a product or in a performance of professional quality as a part of their services. So hopefully as you're thinking your services, and I know some of you do the budget cuts and have to rethink your services, rethinking how do you still meet these goals? How do you still meet the definition? And how do you still provide those services to our kids? And as we move forward, and then, keeping that definition straight. As I know she's on, Kristen is here with us this morning, and I'm going to give it over for her announcements today.
Thanks so much, Monica. Hi, everyone. So glad to be with you today. I'm Kristen Graham. I'm the Deputy Director of TAGT, or the Texas Association for the Gifted and Talented. If you're not aware of what we do or who we are, really, we are all of you. We're a professional member association that can really serve as your home to be empowered and connected as you carry out your work and serve your staff, your students in your school districts. Um, I became a member of TGT, I think it was 2017, was when I kind of stumbled into my first role as a GT coordinator after being in the classroom. For several years, and in my school district that where I took that job, it was a department of one. So one person who did all the things from the pull-out teaching, working with the kids, to doing the testing, to meeting with the parents, to doing presenting to the school board. So it was very much a crash course in all the things that anyone could be responsible for at one time. And so, as you can imagine, in that kind of scenario, I immediately started looking for help, right? Because there wasn't really anyone else in my school district either that was aware of really what I was supposed to be doing or what should be happening or what the laws and policies were or much of anything else. The person who had been in the role before went somewhere else and didn't leave a whole lot of notes. And so some of you might be nodding your head and thinking, I've been in a similar situation. I initially turned to my friend Google and started, Googling others, gifted and talented programs in other school districts and started literally cold calling and cold emailing other people's names and emails I found on the internet. And I was like, maybe someone out here can help me, right? We use our resources. And so it wasn't long before someone, and that someone was Kelsey Karcher from Richardson ISD, was like, hey, do you know about TGT? And I was like, I do not know, but thank you. And so quickly got membered up and got access to our online forums and community and started going to conferences and trying to make the best of my time when I joined programs and things to make connections and honestly real friendships with other people over the years. And anyway, moved on to another school district too that was amazing and learned so much from so many people because I think that's really what it's all about, right? We're all trying to learn from each other and just do the best we can with what we've got. And anyway, so if this is, I see some people on here that I know have been involved with TGT for a very long time and can probably attest to some of the things or all the things that I'm saying. But if you haven't gotten involved with TGT, if you haven't heard of us before, we're really your professional home. So I'm going to put some info in the chat and a link to our website and all that stuff. But I would encourage you to consider membership first and foremost. That's just the quickest and easiest way to get you access to kind of our network and direct connections to other people. We have our annual conference coming up the week after Thanksgiving. That will really be the thing that can jumpstart your network if you're looking to say, you know what, I need more people in my circle. I need a deeper bench of support and help. That can be a great place to get that going. If you're not able to come to the conference, we also have lots of other virtual programming options, opportunities for you to just connect free with other people. We have regular connect chats where just as members you can just hop on and there's a specific topic maybe being discussed that's relevant to you. Yesterday we had a meetup for our small and rural district network. The challenges are the same whether you're in a large district or a small district, but maybe your perspective and what you have access to can be different. So we kind of carved out a space for folks in those types of scenarios. That's just like open to our members. Lots of things where you can get plugged in and get connected so that you can do the best that you're able to in your specific seat. So that's my plug for TGT as a whole as an association. I came on staff with TGT. It's been 3 years. I can't believe it. It's been 3 years. This is just such a generous community. I've gotten to experience it both as a member and now on the staff side. And so, we hope that you will take advantage of TGT as one of the options of support that you have available to you, in addition to resources and support from TEA, from your ESC centers, from other places where you might get support and help. So just want to put that plug out there. We have a member orientation coming up too soon, I think next week. So if you're a member and you haven't really taken advantage of your membership, you might, I'll put that in the chat in a second, but you might consider hopping on there to learn more about how you can get more involved in the TGT community. This is the time of year, it's October. We know October's hard, right? The school year's been going for a couple months. Some of those challenges are starting to feel really real. We know that it's tough times in general in public ed. And so we're here as support for you. You can click and read some of the things in the chat that we've got going on. Um, I do want to highlight because there's a deadline coming for this program. Um, we have a really strong leadership development pathway within TAGT. We have several programming options, kind of no matter where you are in your leadership journey. We have a boot camp that happened in August to just kind of a 1 day quick get you oriented, get you off in the right direction. We have our emerging leaders program, and then we heard from folks that had completed the emerging leaders program that they really felt like they needed more pure leadership development. So, not necessarily more information about the GT policy or what you need to know about the state plan, but how to be an effective and capable leader of teams and people, which is the real hard work we know. And so a couple years ago, we developed the Forum on Advanced Leadership. We just kind of refer to it as the forum around here. And we've recognizing some of the challenges and things that folks are in, we've kind of tweaked, not taken away any of the content, but just kind of changed the format of that so that you can build traction a little faster in your learning, apply it quicker. It's a completely virtual program, but it's live sessions, 5 sessions, 5 months in a row. And registration for that closes November 1st. And so if that's something that you're interested in, we kick that off in November. Really powerful, really impactful program. Celeste Sodergren, who's now with University of Connecticut, is our lead facilitator for that program. And we've put a lot of research and time into developing the content there. There's asynchronous learning alongside the live sessions, a lot of things that you get access to. And so wanted to really promote that as the deadline's coming up here soon. And specifically for this group, if you'll put a save the date on your calendars now, our leadership conference in March is going to be the 22nd through the 24th. So if you're one of those districts that has the second week of spring break, usually uh, I say the second week, spring break either happens the second week of March or the third week of March. So I guess if you're one of those districts that has spring break like the third week of March, this is going to come at the tail end of that. But the good news is we're going to be at back at the Kalahari Resort in Round Rock. So, you might consider making the end of your spring break a trip down to Round Rock and spend a little extra time with the family at the water park on Sunday or, whatever you might want to do. But put that date on your calendar. That's a conference that's created just for you all. Everyone there is someone who's in your similar seat, who's facing the same challenges, trying to solve similar problems. And so that can be a super impactful event for you all. Every person that you'll sit at a table with is in a similar position, and it can be a great time for those of you who are in your unique positions to come together to connect and really talk about what's going on. The call for proposals for that is officially open as well. You'll get an email soon, but I went ahead and included that link in the chat. And last thing I'll mention, because this has really taken off, and I was hoping this was the case because I kept hearing about it, kept hearing questions mentioned here, questions mentioned elsewhere. We have a webinar series that's currently going on around acceleration essentials. And I've really recruited what I feel are the best, the brightest experts in the country on acceleration. And we're halfway through the live series, but all of the sessions have been recorded and are available in our LMS. So if you're interested in still getting in on that, I did include the link there for that. We're going to hear from Ann Shoplik this week. And then actually next week, we're going to hear from Marcy Voss, one of our own Texas GT experts, as she talks about and provides templates for how to create actual policy in your district around acceleration so that things maybe won't be quite as fuzzy or as uncertain there. So anyway, just wanted to make a mention of that because we've gotten a lot of great feedback and people are still joining in. So those are my plugs. We hope to see you in Grapevine at GiftEd. If you're interested in, if you're in the Dallas area and you're thinking, maybe you won't be able to attend the whole conference, but we do have the option where you can register for just the summit, which is going to be on Tuesday, the 2nd, facilitated by Andy McNair. And I put the link there. You can read more about that and watch a video from her. So we have a discounted price. So if you're interested in just attending the summit, or if you have teachers who you're like, I can't afford to send all my teachers to the conference, but this would be a great thing. I can send them Tuesday afternoon, send them over to the Gaylord, and they'll get a lot out of that. Consider that as an option as well. So thanks, Monica.
You're welcome. Thanks, Kristen. So everyone, we'll have another one, but yeah, we'll have another GT Tuesday before we will see each other at Gift Ed 2025. I have two presentations, and then there's a few others I know on this call they have presentations. So yes, we are there. We're ready to roll. All right. So I have one of your cohorts, Tracy Schultz, Dr. Schultz from Spring Branch ISD. She's going to she's been to Spring Branch. I'm gonna let Tracy just introduce herself, and then she's talking about dual language and their program and their GT program and how those two are working together. Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks, Monica. And I'm going to apologize in advance for my audio. I hope you guys can hear me. My office is kind of in a dungeon and the audio kind of goes in and out. So I'll let me know if you can't hear me. But yeah, it was great, Monica, running into you at the Title III Symposium this summer. I attended your session, and I know we had a little chat about the goings on here in Spring Branch. This has kind of been a journey for us here in the district because my first day in this district was actually the first day of the shutdown because of COVID. So I started on day one of shutdown. And since then, we've had budget cuts, and since then we've had personnel cuts, and things you keep feeling like you're getting interrupted in the work you want to do. But what happened is about a year and a half ago, we finally dug our heels in, and we, meaning me and the director of our multilingual department, got together and said, we really want to look at our data. We really want to look at our numbers because we feel like we've got some missed opportunities with some of our emerging bilingual students who might also be gifted. And so that is kind of where and when our journey to get serious about this starts. Now, I will say I'm going to share what we've been doing recently in our district. And I know there are other districts out there who are well beyond our experience in moving toward identifying more EBGT students. So what I'm going to ask you to do is share your own insights and your own learning experiences in the chat. If you can, because we're all in this to learn together. And I'd really, like I said, we're kind of new in our journey into all this. And I'd love to learn more about what you guys have already in place that might help us as well. So Monica, am I able to share my screen?
Yes, you are able to share.
Wonderful. Okay, so we are going to share and get started. So, we always start with looking at the data. When you want to make any decisions, those data-driven decisions, you want to look at first what the numbers are telling you, because we don't have the luxury of telling our story in the newspaper or on the TAPER reports or on the school reports. They just see numbers. So when you look at the numbers, you have to kind of ask yourself, what are those numbers telling the state? What are those numbers telling the community, the public, and whatnot? Well, these are our numbers, and you can see that we have over 12,000 emergent bilingual students in our district, and I've provided the split on where those lie. You can see heavily many of them are at the elementary level. But when you dig further into the EB population, you see that we have 56 languages that are spoken in the district. And these are primarily the breakdown. You can see we're very heavily Spanish language, but we have other languages represented as well. And the reason why you want to look at this is because when you're looking at your identification processes and protocols, you need to take into consideration who your EBs are and what that population looks like. And then so that's a starting point for us here, is to really dig into our data so that we know, what our approach needs to be in our identification system. And furthermore, when you break it down, you can see on the right there, we have 4,704 gifted and talented students identified, but only 6.9% of those are our EB population. So only 326 students out of the 4,000 are identified EBs. And so we know we're lacking in that area. And I connected with the multilingual department because I wanted to talk to them about what we could do to improve our identification of students who may not have a grasp of the English language yet, but who exhibit gifted characteristics. And so that was our charge, and that is where we wanted to go together. Now, I know Monica shares the state's definition of gifted students, and Yosek shared with me the state's definition of emergent bilingual students. And then what we did was we did a book study, Marcy Voss's book study on this book here, Gifted Multilingual Learners. I'm going to show you some slides from that in a minute. But we decided to do a book study together to dig deeper into how to identify our multilingual learners as gifted. And in her book on page 6, she has a combined definition of what a gifted multilingual EB, an EB or a GT student would look like. And that's this here. I'm not going to read it to you because I know this is being recorded. You can take a look at that. But it's a twofold situation. It's a student who needs language supports, but is capable of those higher level thinking skills that we use to identify students as gifted and provide services for. So given this definition, we decided to collaborate together, multilingual and advanced academic studies. And in that collaboration, we wanted to go into the tools we were using to identify students. And I'm going to show you, what we discovered in that. But thirdly, we want to make sure that once we have a better grasp of how to identify these students using those characteristics, and then you go into the teacher training. Like, we had to provide not just training for understanding the characteristics of an EBGT student, but we also had to provide training on how to support those students once they're identified in the classroom, because once they enter our gifted services, they still need those language supports. And we were not doing a fabulous job on training teachers in that. And that's where our collaboration with the multilingual department has been so fruitful. So again, the book study that we did, I remember coming up with the idea of inviting our multilingual director and some of her coordinators to TAGT last year. You heard Kristen talk about the benefits of TAGT. And one of the things I had noticed at TAGT is that more and more there were sessions that were being offered about this very topic, about supporting multilingual students and EB students in the gifted world. And so I invited our multilingual department to come to TAGT. Well, it opened their eyes, and that's actually the catalyst that started our collaboration together. And so we knew that using this tool, we would be able to make the changes we were wanting to see in our identification processes and in instruction that was happening in the classroom. And the whole purpose of this is because you want these students to have access to advanced learning and advanced classes. You don't want to wait until they grasp the English language, maybe later in life, because they've lost years of being exposed to the kinds of things we want them to be able to do to exercise those brains. So you don't want to wait for the language. You want to go ahead and service them while they're acquiring the language. And so our collaboration brought us into this. The very first thing we wanted to look at was the teacher observation survey that we use to identify students, right? This is what we use to ask questions about students who might benefit from services. And right off the bat, after the book club or the book study concluded and our conversations with multilingual, began, we noticed in our teacher survey there were items in there that were actually gatekeepers for students who were still emerging bilingual students. You can see in gold here that those kinds of students and learning their characteristics, they don't express themselves well with language because they're still learning the language. They may not participate in oral discussions because they're intimidated or they're embarrassed because they don't know how to express themselves. Excuse me. They may read widely and intensively in their own language, but because they're still learning English, you may not see that. So we had these kind of barriers kind of baked in our teacher survey questions. And so as a remedy, what we did in conjunction with the multilingual department is we went to the tools that were provided in this book. There's a lot of them in the appendix. And we kind of went through and we sorted through the ones that we wanted to bring in to our teacher observation survey so that we felt like we were doing justice for our EB students throughout the identification process. So we've since changed that language on the survey to include more like these characteristics of English learners with high abilities. And we're going through the process, excuse me, right now. So I will, time will tell if we've opened the gates for identifying more of these students into the process. But once we get them through, we know that their training has to occur, not just in making teachers understand what those look-fors are for gifted EBs, but we also had to start wrapping our heads around professional development in the class, that help teachers in the classroom with differentiation for these students. So once they get into the program, we still want to be able to differentiate for these students to provide and provide year-round support for these teachers so that we're properly addressing their needs. So what began as conversations and meetings turned into these actual professional developments that Advanced Academics is doing with the multilingual department. And one of the first ones that we've done is at the elementary level, where the multilingual department is talking about SWIRL. They're talking about those multilingual, those linguistical supports that you provide EB students in the classroom. So our combination was we go into these PDs and we talk to the teachers about the scaffolding strategies that you use with multilingual students. And they emphasize all of these in the classroom with the content that they currently have. So they present these scaffolding strategies, the CBLI, and they talk teachers through how you differentiate for EBs using your content, using what you use on a daily basis, but how you can support these students. We gave them examples of stuff that they already use in their content because we don't want it to feel like one additional thing. What our whole goal is to embed the CBLI strategies and what I'm going to go into, the depth and complexity icons. We want them to see how all of this can be embedded together to support these students. So here's just an example of a way that you would include those linguistical supports for students so that they can access the ideas in the content. And in this example, it's a poem. What we then do during our teacher trainings is we come in with not a very deep experience with depth and complexity, but kind of more of an overview with the plug that we do offer in-depth depth and complexity trainings. But here we kind of provide a teaser to all the teachers at the campus and how they can level up differentiated curriculum. And again, we use what they're already given. Now, I know that there's a lot of frames that you can use with the depth and complexity icons, but I wanted to, and I share those with teachers, but I also want them to see how you can take something that's already given to you by whatever materials you've adopted, and you can level those up using the depth and complexity icons with graphic organizers and frames and things that are already provided in your content. And we also walk them through how you use the depth and complexity icons with texts that are already included. So, and I'm not going to go into detail here with you, but you can get the idea of how you take a text and then you add in the layers of thinking from the depth and complexity icons so that students are using higher level thinking skills to kind of digest the information. And then even here with the essential question that's provided for this particular text, in what ways might a play be an effective way to tell a story? Well, if you've looked at that text and that content through the lens of language of the discipline, multiple perspectives, like who thinks a play might be an effective way to tell a story, patterns in plays that make it an effective story, and even across disciplines, because in order to understand why a play might be an effective story, you have to know other genres, right? And how they tell stories. So we share with teachers these ideas on leveling up content instruction. And then what we do is we go back and we show them how all of this comes together. So if you're in a classroom and you might have gifted EBs, what you have to do is you have to provide those linguistical supports so that they can access the content. But then you also require that they think at higher levels, right? And so you would take that same poem that they've just accessed with the multilingual supports, and now you're asking them these higher level thinking questions, okay, to go with it, because just because they don't speak English doesn't mean they're not bright and they can't think at high levels. And that is what we want to provide them. The other thing from the book study that we got was the QSSSA strategy. And this works really well as a marriage between the depth and complexity icons and those multilingual supports. You can see here, she provides a chart. Marcy provides a chart on what that might look like. You give the question stem, and then you take them through those multilingual supports where they've got a question stem to respond, they talk to each other, and then there's a check for understanding at the end. And so this is an excellent strategy that you can use with any of these, both depth and complexity and the CBLIs. And so where do these two kind of converge? Well, they converge in a lot of different areas. You can see the crossover between these two, and we're working very hard to make sure our teachers understand the crossover between the two so that they can better support their GTEBs in the classroom. And so what are the promising practices? They're listed right here, also provided from Marcy Voss on pages 18 through 22. But these are all the ways circling back to kind of the cyclical cycle that we're trying to use is to better identify our gifted EBs and to better support them with classroom instruction. And so that is kind of the journey that we're on right now. And, like I said, we're in our infancy. We've just begun in the last year doing this. And so we're really excited about what results might come as a result of this. So with that, I'll take any questions you might have, or like I said, I'd love for you guys to make comments in the chat or verbally now on things that you've done with your own students and your own practices in your districts. And if not, I'll turn it back over to Monica and she can keep on keeping on.
So there's a question in the chat. What grades did you start this process with?
We started this process with our elementary campuses because if you saw our data reports, the majority of our identified students come from the elementary level. So in all the places that we decided to start, we felt that would have the most impact. You see any other questions? Most of you guys know how to find me in Spring Branch ISD. I'll be at TAGT as well. So we can either chat there or you can email me and, we can start those conversations with your district. And like I said, I'd love to learn from you as well. So, okay. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, Tracy. Great job. Great information. And Vanessa, I'm not sure if it's related to Tracy's question, presentation, but Vanessa would like to know more about prep programs.
I was just asking from the promising practices image that you put on there. I noticed that one at the bottom, and I wasn't familiar with that. We may already be using it in our district. I just don't know what you guys are calling it or what it looks like for other people.
For us, the front loading begins at our district staff development day in the summer. And what we always do is we always offer GT choice sessions for teachers to attend in order to share the good news, I guess you could say, share the wealth. We do a lot of work on building rigorous cultures at campuses, and in that we share a lot of our gifted and talented service ideas, and it goes up through secondary as well. We talk a lot about advanced courses in middle and high school, especially at our Keys to Success with our campus principals. And so for us, preparation programs include getting the word out, making sure people understand in the district our processes and protocols and those supports that we provide in the classroom after the fact. Does that answer your question? And I'm not sure if anybody else has something else to add.
Yes, I didn't know if you meant like prep programs for students, or that does make sense for teachers. We do that training as well. I guess we just call it other things, but that's good to know that we're also doing that.
I would also add, and I'm less familiar with it, but our multilingual department always holds week-long events in the summer that could be considered kind of a preparation program, especially now that we're starting to combine our GT work with EB work. So we haven't done it yet, but I'm thinking in the future that might be a way to help students prepare going into the school year with higher level thinking skills if we start embedding depth and complexity with their summer camps and things that they do.
Well, I can bring that up since I am since we are a part of that new division here at TEA of emerging bilingual and emergent bilingual and GT, as we are a new unit here together. And there we go. So I did drop Tracy's her how you can reach them at Spring Branch at advancedstudies@springbranch.com. But I did want to also preference, and for those who want a little bit more, you can always get your data on the website, but then also there are some, you can do a PRR request. I'm going to put it that way. Also, to get specific GT data out there, it is available for 24, 25, using that data, and we're coming up on Snapshot, everyone. So make sure your data's out there, is up to date. We're coming up on Snapshot. But I just wanted to highlight what our numbers look like right now. And for a few years there, you can see about 4 years there, we were going pretty much up, and now we took a little dip in our numbers of identified EB students. And so really looking at our bilingual students are still increasing, but I'll have those internal conversations where we think about what may be happening with our ESL. They may be transitioning out. They may be moving out. And that leads me to the next slide, actually. So once again, this data is available. Also, your ESCs have this data. I do get this data per the state, the region, and in local districts. So pretty soon we'll go deeper into looking at all of the data and opening it up for conversation. But this is the 24 data, not the 24-25, but the 23-24. But looking at our models, our biggest model is going to be our English ESL program models, where most of our students are either being pulled out in a content base or being pulled out in a program. So really looking at how can we make sure we get more of our program students into services, but looking at how we work with our models that are available and what they're doing so far. So just some things to put on the radar to think about as you look at your students, looking at your populations, and then looking at how we're providing services. As you know, Chapter 89.1, our student identification is open for public comment. It is open until November the 10th. Yes, November 10th. It will go before the board, the committee of instruction on November the 20th, and then go before the full board for final adoption on the 21st. So if you got comments, you have wonderings, feel free to do that, to take a moment to discuss, share as we go through. Sorry, my chat wasn't open. So the data, and I don't want to flip. So this data is from 2020 to 2025. So this is I was able to update it to 2025. So this is the most recent data here. So that gray bar is 24-25. So that is where we are. This data here is 23-24, the end of the March data. So I have the 24-25. I just need to, I haven't updated this slide on the deck yet. It takes a little bit more with the mathematics on that. So that wasn't a quick thing to do. All right. So, one thing, as you know, and one of also, as we've been the part of our last legislative session is we did receive. We do have officially a state week of Gifted and Talented Student Week, and that is the first week of April. So, drop it in the chat, or if someone wants to talk about if they've been thinking about it. Myself and our ESC leadership, we have them thinking about it, getting ready to put some plans out and have some suggestions for you. But I'm putting out there for you to have some input. What are your plans? What are any suggestions that you have, or any questions that you may have? I already know that Taggart always puts out things for the week coming up. So, but this is your opportunity as we think about this as the first time as official state week. What do we want to do? Any suggestions, ideas, recommendations? What are you considering? Is it on your radar? Let's put it that way. Anyone?
I have a question.
Yes.
TAGT shared a lot of great resources last year for the GT Student Week. Are they planning on doing that again? I don't know if Kristen's still with us, but
she's still with us, and knowing them, yes, they have probably a new plan. But yes, Kristen.
Yeah, as always, we'll be sharing things all week. In the past, we've done different things where we've had different groups or people do kind of like a takeover of our social media, or our awareness committee works hard to come up with ideas and things that feel relevant. If you're at all interested in maybe highlighting something your school district is doing, reach out to me. I'll put our email address in the chat. We're always looking for, fresh things to share during that week and provide new perspectives. We have lots of evergreen resources that we share year to year, and those will always be available. But we're always looking for new ways to celebrate.
Thank you. And because also we got other that will open up. We also are open up in different platforms that we can use. Because I could definitely use TEA's social media campaign and coming up with some great blasts. So as we continue to think about it, drop me some notes and some ideas, and we can full front it and make it exciting and as big as we possibly can. Be creative out there so that, hey, put our footprint. We got a footprint out there. Let's put both feet into it and just jump in. And all right. Any other questions? I saw that question. And thank you, Della, for dropping that in the chat on that question. Okay, and then so let me get a page. Someone asked a question. So someone asked about the taper. And I know Kristen did put the pathway to it, but this is a prime opportunity. So let me do a new share. Where are we? Think about where am I at? Screen two. There we go. New share. Okay. So as you go through, and I'm sorry, y'all get me distracted every day. I see a thing pop up. So under our taper reports will be under our school performance, takes the academic performance reports. And then you will find by years, and the current year are available in the state. So you can always go back and find them. And you can find by campus or district, or you can do it by ESC or the entire state. Anybody want me to look at their district specific or campus specific? Just drop it in the chat. Or call it out. I'm open.
You could look up LBJ Elementary in Odessa since I couldn't find it earlier. And I think Kristen showed that it was on there, but for some reason that did not load that way.
LBJ?
LBJ Elementary
Okay.
in Odessa.
I had to search you just saying Johnson because
Yeah, I did that too, but it just wouldn't populate anything. So I'm not sure if it was my connection, maybe.
Also, I see the year that's selected on this screen is 23, 24. Is that the most recent for these reports? I think we have 24, 20. Oh, no? Okay.
Well,
I have to scroll
and
down.
there's so many Johnson Elementary. So let's see. LBJ, Edinburgh or Ector County?
Ector County, yeah.
There we go.
Thank you for the link.
Oh, and it came up as an attachment. And I bet it's in the data system of the other, because this is 23-24,
Okay.
a beautiful 25 pages.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for doing
No problem, no problem. There is, and I know because I've just I got to figure out the pathway, because they are doing how I want to put it, more user friendly and not a thank you. No, different platform, I will put it that way. Of Yeah, there we go. Of under the accountability ratings and searching through, because we're doing updates here at the agency, also on our website.
Okay.
And view reports. Yeah. So this is the newer version.
Okay.
So you'll see it here in the summary, the distinctions. Yeah, and this was just, and you'll see the release date right here.
Okay.
It should give you more than the summary. I wonder why.
You have to go to the top
Oh,
and under, star performance.
Okay.
yeah.
I'm so glad y'all are showing me this because it would take
That's-
me an hour to find.
That is why we are here, to
Yes.
go through and everybody, because other people, as we say, we learn as we roll. So your accountability groups, and then here is the groups by additional student groups where we are now. So
Okay.
you'll find your GT here.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Wow, that's great.
So they're holding school progress, closing the gap, and then any distinctions,
Okay.
and also distinction, and then in your star performance.
Okay.
And also remember with your star performance, and I don't know if on this link there is when you go to, let's see. Oh, this thing. Not this one. There is another star performance one, but let's see. There is another star reporting system, probably, and where you can actually get student performance. You can break it down by groups, and you can really get granular. I would put it that way.
Okay.
More than this, and sort it to wherever you're looking for. Let me go back. And that's probably, I don't know if it's on here under student assessment or not. But the next time we meet, I will make sure I have the link for that, because that one does go a little more, as I said, granular into, you can sort, whatever specific grade levels, grade bands, science, whatever subject area, and really get into that. So yes.
Okay. Thank you again. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right. Other questions, wonderings? Anything anyone want to share? What's going on in their district, or what's happening? All right. So we're going to end there because it's almost 11. So we've done covered a lot today, but I want to say thank you for joining me. Happy Halloween for next week. And then we'll see each other in November. I don't know, remember what date in November, but we will see each other in November, probably a couple weeks, 2 weeks at least. And then, but if not, until then, have a great time. You know how to reach me. So, and we'll see each other in the afternoon in November. Thank you, everyone. November 4th. Thank you, Sylvia.